They called Haiti the poorest country in the West. They forgot to mention who made it poor. In 1915, U.S. Marines landed in Port-au-Prince, not to help, but to seize Haiti's gold reserves. Acting on orders from Wall Street, they stormed the National Bank of Haiti, confiscating $500,000 in gold, worth over $13 million today, and shipped it directly to the vaults of the National City Bank of New York. This wasn't just theft, it marked the beginning of a 19-year U.S. occupation aimed at controlling Haiti's finances and extinguishing any spark of black freedom that threatened white empire. The U.S. forced Haiti to rewrite its constitution, allowing foreigners to own land, funneled profits to American corporations, and saddled Haiti with debts it never agreed to. This gold seizure wasn't a minor event. It was a decisive turning point that drained Haiti's wealth and entrenched the cycle of foreign domination still felt today. They didn't just fear Haiti's freedom, they feared it would inspire others. Follow if Haiti's truth deserves to be heard loud. If you never learned about the Haitian ransom, comment, "Where's the refund?"
They didn't just take gold, they took sovereignty, with boots on docks and silence in treaties. 1914, they opened vaults with no keys, just power and greed. 500 grand in golden weight, shipped out like breath from a body left bleeding. Foreign hands touched our soil, but not our spirit. They moved in shadows, called it protection. But theft don't wear uniforms unless empire writes the law. Banque Nationale, not Haitian hands. Profits split like stolen bread at a table where no Haitians were fed. Not just wealth was taken, but the memory, the rhythm, the right to write our own tomorrow. They came not to lift, but to lock. Not to build, but to break. Not to serve peace, but to own silence. Yet the land remembers. The soil don't lie. Names carved in blood never truly die. And flames lit by truth don't bow to wind. Chains can weigh a body, but never a soul. This is history, written in stolen gold, buried beneath contracts, raised by resistance. We were never the chaos. We were the drumbeat. We were never the burden. We were the root. So let them count their coins. Let them guard their ledgers. Because we carry something they can't hold. A rebel flame and a name that still rises. Gold in chains, but unbroken. Gold in chains, still divine. Pulled up in 1914, no visa. Waved that flag like it's Mona Lisa. Said they came for peace. Boy, please. Walked out the bank with the nation's keys. Took 500 grand, gold on deck. Put it on a ship, gave no respect. Bank ain't Haitian, owned overseas. They played Monopoly with our real G's. That ain't aid, that's a stick-up, slick. Marines marched in like a Wall Street trick. Said it's protection, nah, it's theft. Took the bloodline and just left death. They took the gold, we got the chains, we got the soul, they want the fame. We built the fire, they stole the flame. But we gon' rise, again and again. They took our gold, they ain't rob a bank, they robbed a whole nation. And left us cold, turned our freedom into their foundation. But we still bold, from the ashes we craft salvation. Haitian soul, you can't kill a real vibration. Banque Nationale, foreign fingers, every contract signed, poison lingers. French got their cut, U.S. too, we just trying to eat. They cooked the rules. Occupation came, 15 deep, left scars in the soil we still reap. Told the world we were unstable, while they robbed our plate and flipped our table. Now Citibank still holding ghosts, off stolen gold and Haitian hopes. This ain't just about the cash they lift. It's about a soul they tried to shift. Dessalines in the wind, we don't break, we bend. From Gonaves to New York, this don't end. We still rise, no matter how deep they dig. 'Cause we the first black flame that lit this gig. They took our gold. They ain't rob a bank. They robbed a whole nation. And left us cold, turned our freedom into their foundation. But we still bold, from the ashes we craft salvation. Haitian soul, you can't kill a real vibration. They wrote us out the history, but we write in blood, stone, and rhythm. Haiti ain't just the past. Haiti is the mirror of every stolen kingdom.
All right, Shalom. We are the Hebrew Israelites from the Indianapolis branch of the Great Millstone. We're here to give all praises, glory, and honor to Yahweh, Ba'Hashem, Yahushai, Ba'Hashem, Wakakwadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who rule well in teaching us this 100% truth. Salutations to them and our fellow Akim who labor in this truth week in and week out on the highways and byways. Also, salutations to the hopeful elect of the scattered 12 tribes of Israel, scattered to the four corners of the earth, that be like it to the speckled bird, also known as your Israelite foreigners, and your so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. To you, we say Shalom.
Shalom.
All right, before we get into it, just want to declare fair use, fair use, fair use, according to the Copyright Act of 1976, as stipulated under Section 107. There's no monetary gain from this video. It is strictly for the purposes of teaching and educating. All right. So today's subject is going to be stealing gold from Haiti, the 1914 U.S. Invasion. It's a pretty lengthy article, very historical. We'll put a link to this article in the description box, but we're only going to cover about 4 areas of it, going into the yellow gold from Haiti, the Haitian Gendarmerie, the First National City Bank, and the aftermath and consequences of Haiti. All right. So without further ado, we'll go ahead and get into the opening scripture, and we will put a link to this article in the description box for you to read at your own leisure. All right.
Obadiah verse 10. For thy violence against thy brother Jacob, shame shall cover thee, and thou shalt be cut off forever.
Go ahead.
So the violence against Jacob, which is, the forefather of the so-called Negro, Latino, Native American, all right, which Esau is his brother, all right, through the loins of Isaac. Esau came out first, Jacob came out holding his heel, and that represents the rivalry between the two nations that were brought back last after the flood. All right, the nation of the righteous seed, the nation of the wicked seed.
Mm-hmm.
For generations, really, there's been nothing but this violence against us too, and most notably, Esau have done the most atrocious things to our people.
Mm-hmm.
All right, and you're going to see it when you look at this article, which is one of many. All right, and to this day, he do violent acts against us. Okay, but we're going to get into the article.
Yeah, well, like I said, though, that shame is going to cover you, and like you said, there's many of them, and every week we've been uncovering all the stuff that this devil has done to us since being on this, over on this side, being kicked out of our land. Let's just put it that way. Okay, everything that he has done against us to this very day. All right, and Jake has to understand, even though that the whole world was created for our sakes, that was under the pretense that we kept the law, statutes, and commandments in the land that was given to us. Okay, and since we were kicked out of that, no matter where we go, we're going to suffer those curses according to Deuteronomy 28. All right.
I preach it real quick.
Go ahead.
Speaking about shame, well, this is the reason why they trying to change up history in school, because they even show you a little history about the Haiti Louisiana Purchase and Haiti Revolution. So you know what I'm saying, like when you bring up the things they've done against our people, it's always looked down upon, or they try to sweep it under the rug. But Yahweh Bashim Yahushua is bringing these things out, all right, because it's all going to be accounted for. It says, Habakkuk 2 and 16, thou art filled with shame for glory. Drink thou also, and let thy foreskin be uncovered. Yeah, everything is being revealed, especially with regard to us. All the heinous acts against us are being brought to the forefront. All right, this is a shameful thing to the Edomites, because they don't want to face the facts of what they've done to us. All right, because they want you to think that America is all, this unity or a loving spirit, and it's not. It's always been hatred between us, right?
Mm-hmm.
It says the cup of the Lord's right hand shall be turned unto thee, and shameful spearing shall be on thy glory. And this is why people look at America, and even right now, when you look at the world news, a lot of things that's been said about America is, Well, look what you done to the so-called blacks. Look what you done to the
Mm-hmm.
Hispanics. Why? Because the Lord is bringing that shame out.
Mm-hmm.
You got it, brother.
Yeah. Go ahead.
It's the book of Luke, chapter 12, verse 2. It says, "For there is nothing covered that shall not be revealed, neither hid that shall not be known."
Mm-hmm.
So just to the brother's point, the Lord is uncovering all these things.
Yep.
Right, and how is He doing it? By the mouth of the prophets.
Yep.
And of course, scriptures talk about in Daniel how knowledge shall increase.
Mm-hmm.
We're in that time where information is just flooding through the internet, and as more information is being brought out, you have also Esau Edom, his own tongue falling against himself.
Mm-hmm.
They finding information that about their own forefathers that they've done that they had never heard about,
Mm-hmm.
bringing confirmation to the words of the Heavenly Father. We talked about us being, you brother brought up us being in the curses, and we talked about us going on slave ships, and you still have scoffers and those who don't believe. Us also explaining who Esau Edom is, being the border of wickedness,
Mm-hmm.
who the world has been given unto,
Mm-hmm.
according to Job 9 and 24. And all these things, again, is being uncovered so that when judgment comes, the Lord is completely and righteously justified in his actions.
Mm-hmm.
Verse 3 says, "Therefore whatsoever ye have heard in darkness shall be heard in the light, and what ye shall have and that which ye have spoken in the ear in closets shall be proclaimed upon the housetops." So of course, these things in which the Lord has taught us through the spirit of Yahweh Shai, starting with our head apostles and elders, and the knowledge to be able to understand these scriptures, we're now rising up and to the forefront and proclaiming this truth to all the nations.
Mm-hmm.
And what comes along with it is their judgment.
Yep. Yep.
Go ahead.
This is 2 Thessalonians chapter 2 and verse 8. It says, "And then shall that wicked be revealed, whom the Lord shall consume with the spirit of his mouth, and shall destroy with the brightness of his coming." And we understand the wicked to be Esau Edom, the so-called white man, according to Malachi 1 and 4. Right, the spirit of the Lord's mouth being who? His servants and prophets.
Mm-hmm.
See? And also the servants of Yahweh by Shai have been blessed with the testimony of Yahweh Shai, which is the spirit of prophecy, in which ultimately we are prophesying against Mount Seir. Right, pursuant to Ezekiel the 35th chapter.
Mm-hmm.
And with prophesying against Mount Seir comes what? Ultimately exposing their wickedness and telling them their judgment that's coming upon them for their wickedness.
Precept.
You see, the judgment is what? That the Lord shall destroy him with the brightness of his coming.
Mm-hmm.
It's what the destruction of Babylon, the great modern day America, what's going to take place by way of Yahweh Shai and the holy angels coming back and putting those chariots to Israel, as well as the ICBM nuclear missiles, that the Lord is going to use to destroy this place, man.
Okay. Yeah, this is the book of Obadiah, chapter 1, verse 2. Just to really sum up what everybody just said, it says, "Behold, I have made thee small among the heathen. Thou art greatly despised." And how has he made you small? By exposing all of your mess that you've been doing for centuries. Okay? And now the rest of these nations are looking at you like, this nation of folk is literally a piece of shit, and a hypocrite at the same time. And now they are despising you. All of these nations are ready to turn on the so-called white man. And we just, the prophets, is watching and waiting because we know it's going to be epic. As the scriptures say in this same chapter, you're going to be done away with forever, never to return again. The so-called white man, Esau Edom. And it's not just about skin color either, because you got a lot of melanated Edomites as well too. All right, you're going to go right with them. They call tares in the scriptures. All right. So getting into the article, what you see on the screen is the shot of the title of the article, and there is a caption under it. And I'll get with that first, then go into the meat of it. It says, "How much gold did the U.S. take from Haiti in today's money?" Let's put it this way. At the time, in 1914, it was worth $500,000. That's equal to about $14,185,800 in purchasing power today. In other words, an increase of $13,685,800 During 108 years between then and now, that's from 1914, and at the time this article was 2022. All right. It says with an average inflation rate of 3.15% per year between 1914 and today, each dollar would have grown to become $2,737.16. When the United States stole gold from Haiti, it wasn't thousands, it was millions. All right, and that's how you jack up a whole a nation. Stealing their wealth.
Precept.
Go ahead.
Book of John, chapter 10, verse 10. The thief cometh not but to steal, but for to steal and to kill and to destroy. I am come that ye may have life, and that ye may have it more abundantly.
Mm-hmm.
So this is part of Esau's makeup.
Mm-hmm.
See something that you have. What they say, even a man in his heritage. Somebody grab that. Go ahead.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead.
Okay.
Yep.
This is Micah chapter 2, starting at verse 1. It says, woe to them that devise iniquity and work evil upon their beds. When the morning is light, they practice it, because it is in the power of their hand.
Go ahead.
It says, and they cover fields and take them by violence, and houses and take them away. So they oppress a man and his house, even a man and his heritage.
Right, and so the biggest thing is that covetous, spirit, right? It's that inordinate desire to have something that's not yours, right? Because we all have or that lust, we all have a form of it from a low level. If we're spiritual about it, there's things that we desire, like we desire to have the kingdom,
Mm-hmm.
But Esau has it on the wicked by wicked means, meaning
Mm-hmm.
by any means he will look to take something that you have, and he finds his ways to do it through deceit, violence, and as it tells us in John, thief cometh not but to steal, kill, and to destroy.
Mm-hmm.
So as we see, they had gold and they pursued it.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's Sirach 10 and 8. Go ahead.
Yeah, this is Zechariah chapter 11, verse 5. It says, whose possessors slay them and hold themselves not guilty, and they that sell them say, blessed be the Lord, for I am rich, and their own shepherds pity them not. You see, and this devil Esau, even the so-called white man, thought that the Lord was with him. Just because Esau was able to get rich and benefit off the affliction of the children of Israel. But what Esau don't understand is that he's gonna have to pay for that, man. Everything we see happening in America, all the evils, all the plagues, man, all the woes, that's direct judgment from Yahweh by Shema B'Shai, for what you've done to the Israelites upon this land.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. This is Jeremiah 49 and verse 9. It says, "If grape gatherers come to thee, would they not leave some gleaning grapes? If these by night, they will destroy till they have enough."
Mm-hmm.
This is matter of fact. This goes to the Edomites. Okay, you start at verse 7. It says concerning Edom, right? So this is against you Edomites, so-called white people, dealing with small hats. You steal everything. You don't even leave anything for the people. Like you look at how Haiti was able to survive. It was off crumbs.
Mm-hmm.
We were talking about it earlier before we started. The mud pies. That's how poor Haiti got.
Mm.
They actually it was over there eating mud pies, which involved dung being in it, which it goes into Malachi the 2nd chapter.
Mm-hmm.
That's how poor Haiti was, or is. Shlocky. So Esau basically stole all the gold. That's the fucking wealth right there.
Mm-hmm.
He stole the gold. Then before the gold, they had Levites as slaves. They had the sugar over there. The different resources, cacao. Because you look at the Americas. Americas had plenty of resources.
Mm-hmm.
So when Esau came over here, when he seen that, he had to seize that.
Yep.
That's how he became wealthy. See, America had become wealthy because of slavery. Slavery of who? The Israelites.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
I got it.
And the same thing they do with all the northern tribes. They see resources. They want that land. Like you read in Micah 2, they covered fields, thinking about violence. That's what the so-called white man is known for. All right, taking fields by violence, using his blessing of the sword and biochemical weapons. All right, different diseases and shit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I just wanted to back y'all up. This is Sirach 10 and 8. Because of unrighteous dealings, injuries, and riches got by deceit.
That's an unrighteous dealing because why? The gold belonged to Haiti, but who controls it?
Mm-hmm.
Who stole it? Who controls it? Esau. You got
Says the kingdom is translated from one people to another. So yeah, you know that's the thing, because of everything that they've done, it's going to have to be paid back. You know, the book of Job says, his children shall seek to please the poor, but his hand shall restore his goods. All right, but yeah, you gonna cough all that up, give it all back, and then some. You know, not only with your servitude, but your blood. Go ahead.
So, did you have one? Okay, this is the book of Proverbs, chapter 6, verse 30.
Mm-hmm.
Men do not despise a thief if he steals to satisfy his soul when he is hungry. But if he be found, he shall restore sevenfold.
Mm-hmm.
He shall give all the substance of his house.
Con.
So just to back you up, you know, where it's like in the Obadiah where he says, how the things of Esau searched out?
Mm-hmm.
You see that he's a thief.
Yep.
He takes. And of course, his punishment, you know, of course, is ultimate destruction. But everything in which he's stolen, you know, through the injuries and riches gotten by deceit, he's going to give that all back up.
Con.
And it's going to be given to one that is profitable, which is Yahweh Bashim Yahushai.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, sir. Yep. This book of Proverbs, chapter 6, verse 30 says, "Men do not despise a thief if he stealeth to satisfy his soul when he is hungry, but if he be found, he shall restore sevenfold."
See, Esau been found. Esau been found, and he don't want to give up everything that he stole.
Mm-hmm.
So it says in Job, right? Bring it out. You got
Job
that?
20.
Yeah, bring it out.
Job chapter 20, beginning of verse 18. It says, "That which he labored for shall he restore."
If that what you labor for, you should. Esau have labored through wickedness to get the things he had. All right, hey, that's plain to the point. All his labor's been none but wickedness, man.
Mm-hmm.
Violence. They say they wear their hands of violence in the earth. Roughly paraphrasing. Go ahead.
Mm-hmm. It says, "And shall not swallow it down. According to his substance shall the restitution be, and he shall."
According to his substance shall the restitution be.
Yep.
You know what restitution is.
Yes, sir.
If you've been indebted to Esau, you know, even you go to jail, you got restitution.
Uh-huh.
Things or money you're supposed to pay back.
Yep.
Esau got to pay back all the things he got.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead.
Yep. It says, "According to his substance shall the restitution be, and he shall not rejoice therein."
Mm-hmm. And get that too. He has swallowed down riches and should vomit them up again.
Yeah. Jump back up to verse 15. Mm-hmm. It says, "He has swallowed down riches."
He swallowed down riches. All right.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead.
It says, "And he shall vomit them up again."
This is what the kingdom gonna be about. See, when the kingdom come, all right, we're gonna get everything that Esau stole back and then some.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
We're gonna be wealthy, man.
Mm-hmm.
We're gonna be wealthy above your imagination.
Mm-hmm.
The wealth we're gonna get, man, is gonna be so far from what you expected. Because we're gonna have riches not only down here, but we're gonna have the riches of just going to different planets. You know, finding things that the Lord has in store for us. You know, but down here on earth, Esau and you heathen have to cough off everything you got: gold, silver, precious things that you keep in vaults. A lot of people made a lot of precious things from the Lord.
Mm-hmm.
But they keep in vaults and stuff too. Things you made to give honor to Yahweh Bashim Yahushai. You know, names of Yahweh, why Yahweh Shai on things. You know? And that's how Esau get rich too.
Yep.
But he sells some of them relics and stuff.
Yep.
You know? You got it out.
It says, "The heavenly Father shall cast them out of his belly."
Yeah. Everything you stolen and got behind closed doors or hidden, the Lord gonna make you cough up everything. You know? And that's how the riches is gonna be restored.
Gone.
You got it out.
Hey, you got more?
No, that's it to that.
I got something real quick. Everybody can jump in on it. This is the book of Job, chapter 21, verse 29. Have ye not asked them that go by the way, and do ye not know their tokens? It says, that the wicked is reserved for the day of destruction, that they shall be brought forth to the day of wrath. It says, you know, scriptures say, again, we're talking about his tokens.
Yep,
You know,
his signs, yeah.
The signs of who he is. Just like we keep bringing up Deuteronomy 28 and the other curses and the prophecies that links the so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians to being the children of the Lord. Right? And then you have the elect being the righteous. You also have a wicked, right? And his tokens, things that link him up. How he steals, he kills, he destroys. And of course, scriptures say that the Lord had made all things, yea, even the wicked for the day of destruction, evil. For the day of evil, for bad times. And that bad time is going to be ultimately destruction. It says, so the wicked is reserved to the day of destruction. So this is why he hasn't received his full judgment. You know, he's getting them in increments, and these things are happening unto his kingdom, and it's slowly falling, gradually, but then eventually the Lord is going to put a complete end to this rulership.
Yeah, the Lord is fattening up Esau for the kill.
Yep.
You know, just like the Lord dealt with an ancient Pharaoh, hardened his heart, that he may show his power, he's doing the same thing with modern day Pharaoh, Esau, even the so-called white man.
It says they should be brought forth to the day of wrath. It says, who shall declare his way to his face, and who shall repay him for what?
My favorite. It's like it. That's one of my favorite scriptures.
God, go ahead, bro.
It says, who shall declare his way to his face? That links up with Wisdom Solomon 5. Then shall the righteous man stand in great boldness before the face of such as have afflicted him, and made no account of his labors. All right, the man that afflicted us, all the tribes, is Esau.
Yep.
You sit here, and you tribes out there, man, especially the northern tribes, maybe Latin tribes, you know, in particular. You know, you don't understand that this man, all right, is an enemy incoming. Why? Because you're Israelites, man. Because I be seeing, you know, I'm not just, you know, get off subject, you know, but I be seeing a lot of you northern tribes, especially among the Latin tribes, that have like, you know, you got some kind of ties with Esau. That's why the Lord, you know, is showing his horns. Man. Yep. As far as Esau horns, all right, that he is a true devil, man. You know, and he's dealing the same way he did from the Renaissance on to now. Same way. Yep. You know, you can see. This is why we declaring, hey, you the wicked. You are our enemy. You know, you're the one that destroyed or trying to overthrow our goings. You got that.
I'll say you can see flashes of that right now. The way you have some of these Latin tribes voted for Trump, and you know, he's talking about they took my wife, they deported my wife. Well, you know, we've been telling you the whole time who your enemy is. All right, I got
Levi. Levi tied back into the Southern Kingdom, right? Because you know, like Levi, we on Levi right now. Levi always knew that Esau was his enemy. Yeah. To this day. Yep. To this day. You know, and this is the mindset you gotta have towards man. Hey, this is my enemy. You know what I'm saying? You can never trust thine enemy. You look at the history of Haiti. This is a prime example of how not to trust your enemy. Because they try to do deals with Levi too. Yep. You know.
That's why the U.S. had to take them to where they did, because they beat Esau in 1804 and 1812. All right.
You know, the French.
Yeah, the French. Yep. Yep.
Real quick, it says, finish this off, and then if I can link this, it says, "Who shall repay him what he have done?" Right, and this is the book of Romans, chapter 12, verse 19. It says, "Dear beloved, avenge not yourselves, but rather give place unto wrath, for it is written, vengeance is mine, I will repay, said the Lord." So, you know, just doubling down on that. You go ahead, bro.
Okay, yeah, just back up. This is before we get back into the article, book of Deuteronomy, chapter 33, verse 29, and it reads, "Happy art thou, O Israel, who is like unto thee, O people saved by Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai, the shield of thy help, who is the sword of thy excellency." It says, "And thine enemies shall be found liars unto thee, and thou shalt tread upon his high places." Just like the brother just read, you know, the vengeance is the Lord, but how we're treading upon his high places by exposing him through the truth. Okay, the scriptures say we are not ignorant of Satan's devices. Okay, it also says that, you know, before a certain prophecies spring forth, he was going to tell us of them. Okay, and it's our job to get out there and let our people know and let him know. That's why we can declare to his face right now that he is a liar. Okay, and he's been found out. All right. Back into the article. Like I said, it's pretty lengthy, so we're beginning at the a part called "Yellow Gold from Haiti: The U.S. Invasion." All right. And it says 4 years before 1915 were without a doubt unstable for Haiti. 7 Haitian presidents were either killed or overthrown between 1911 and 1915. In addition to that, the U.S. feared the possibility of foreign interference on the island. Their solution was a military intervention, an invasion. That's basically what it was. All right. It says President Woodrow Wilson claimed to be following the Monroe Doctrine. The doctrine originated in 1823 under President James Monroe. Under it, intervention by external powers in American politics is potentially viewed as hostile against the U.S. Since in 1914, President Wilson sent the U.S. Marines to Haiti. The claim was that it was to prevent anarchy, protect U.S. assets, and prevent possible German invasion.
Right. It said who the Marines,
Mm-hmm.
and that's so he lied. Read that part again.
It says President Woodrow Wilson claimed to be following the Monroe Doctrine. The Monroe Doctrine originated under President James Monroe. Under it, intervention by external powers in American politics is potentially viewed as hostile against the U.S. Now,
so you bring in the Marines. That's war.
Yep.
You don't bring in troops for no reason. Troops is you declaring war on the people.
Mm-hmm.
Because troops are made to what? They made to kill.
Mm-hmm.
Man of war he's made to kill.
Yep.
He's not made to come over there and blow up balloons and shit.
Mm-hmm.
And give out lollipops. He come over there with his weapon.
Yep.
And to carry out orders that's passed down from his commanders in chief.
Mm-hmm. Normally they send ambassadors, you know, dignitaries if they're going to do that. But you sent U.S. Marines.
And what's that statement that's been going around amongst the brotherhood as far as Esau? It's like he makes himself the victim.
Victim, villain, victim.
Yeah. So this is the situation where he made himself the victim
Mm-hmm.
to then go forth to complete his enterprise.
Mm-hmm.
His main point was to get gold, but how can I get in there if I just show myself by force? No, I have to now develop a propaganda.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Okay. Oh, we have assets there. We made an agreement with them. We set up a puppet, because I actually got that puppet leader. You know, certain things that they set up. Oh, they didn't agree with us. Now everybody in America is like, we need to do something about it. So then they like, all right, we got it. So then what? We create the problem, cause, reaction, solution.
Yep.
They already had the solution. And what their intent was to do was to get the goal. We just have to figure out a way to justify our reasoning. You know, going in there.
Right.
Yep. And this again goes back to, you know, not to get too far off subject, but we always bring this up. It sounded like a broken record, but that MOTB.
Yep.
You know how they're creating, or even that monetary system. These things in which they're creating, they have to figure out a way to set up. We are the victim. Now we have to we got to devise a plan. Oh, we have a solution, and for those who don't comply with the solution, then we're going to bring forth the force.
To get rid of them. And that's that same spirit going all the way back to Esau. You know, he sold his birthright willingly. Okay? Sold it willingly. Didn't realize what it was and trying to get it back. So what was his solution? To destroy Jacob. All right? But that's not going to happen. All right? So they definitely is going to try. All right?
Yeah, it's because he said when they on the brother Bariah said you know, give you the solution, they come against you because you're known as insurrectionists.
Mm-hmm.
And you rebelling against authority.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Which, you know, in reality, You from a foreign country
Yeah.
to them. You know, how's that rebellion? They just want to control. That's what Esau does. Same, nothing's changed. All right.
Same doing the so-called Middle East,
Mm-hmm.
which is West Asia.
Yep.
Southwest Asia, it's the same thing. They invade these countries, and when they don't want to agree with Esau, then they're terrorists.
Mm-hmm.
You know, jihadi rebels, whatever they call them.
Mm-hmm.
You got it.
Okay. Back to the article. It says in 1914, President Wilson sent the U.S. Marines to Haiti. The claim was that it was to prevent anarchy, protect U.S. assets, and prevent possible German invasion. Marine Corps General Smedley Butler received the Medal of Honor for military valor while leading the United States Marines during the campaign. He was a major at the time. It says beginning the U.S. occupation of Haiti, American Marines came from the U.S. South. Along the way, where anti-Haitian sentiment and racism were at high levels. The Marines forced rural farmers into work gangs to build roads, bridges, and dams that there wasn't much they could do against an armed force bent on military occupation. Somebody grab Jeremiah 22:13.
This is Jeremiah chapter 22, verse 13. It says, "Woe to him that buildeth his house by unrighteousness, and his chambers by wrong, that useth his neighbor's service without wages, and giveth him not for his work."
So they used those farmers. Although it all was roads, it was to build their occupation ultimately in Haiti. Okay, let them have a residence there, which they still do to this day. All right, it says, "Woe to them!" So destruction is coming to Esau, Edom, the so-called white man, for doing that. You never paid them back, and you robbed them. You took all their money, okay, and then after those wars, you had them paying tributaries because they whooped France's ass, who are still Edomites, okay, still Edomites, no matter where they came from. All right, you had the French, the Spanish, and the regular Edomite, okay, responsible for these areas in the Americas. All right, colonizing them, taking control of them. All right, yeah, precept.
Sirach 34 and 21, and it reads, it says, "The bread of the needy is their life. He that defrauded him thereof is a man of blood." That goes along with what you just read, because they didn't pay them Levites,
Mm-hmm.
And it was forced labor. All right, it says, verse 22, "He that taketh away his neighbor's living slayeth him, and he that defraud the laborer of his hire is a blood shedder."
Mm-hmm.
See, and that's ultimately what Esau is known.
Yep.
To be blood shedder.
Yep.
It says in Sirach 12 that he should not be satisfied with blood.
Yep.
Or Ezekiel 35,
Mm-hmm.
"Since thou hast not hated blood, even blood shall pursue thee."
Mm-hmm.
Everywhere the so-called white man goes on this earth, he's always shedding blood. Why do you think nobody wanted in their land? The heathen see Esau coming like, oh shit.
Yeah.
And he come some trouble.
Yep.
And that's why you gotta get them by force, because they ain't gonna agree to invite him in.
Yep.
Not even for diplomacy. That's why mainly diplomacy happens where? In the UN Security Council.
Mm-hmm.
In New York City. Those UN Security Council you see on the news, that's in New York. Why? Because you come in your land, it's war.
Yeah.
You see U.S. anything on your land that's military, that's war.
Yep.
You got to.
Yeah, that's what we'll say. Violence covereth him like a garment. It's like a chain that compasses his neck. Mm-hmm. Anytime you see him, like you said, here comes violence. All right.
That great sword is in his hand.
Yep.
To what? Take peace from the earth, like it says Revelation 6 and 4. That's why there's no peace. This man only knows war, because why? War is bloodshed, and war brings wealth too.
Yep.
Through war, these devils get wealth.
Mm-hmm.
We know the sayings of the elites.
Yeah.
Best time to buy is when blood's in the streets.
Mm-hmm.
All the sayings, that's the Edomite way.
Mm-hmm.
That's why, at the end of the deal, hey, when you factor in on everything that this man does, it had to be a divine power to take this man out.
Yep.
You got it out.
Yeah, because it was you say you know the sayings. It was Mayor Meyer. I'm sure Baron Rothschild's wife, Gutli Shatner Rothschild, said, if my sons didn't want war, there wouldn't be any. So they know there's a profit from this stuff on both sides, the winner and the loser. Okay? All right. It says, back to the article under the U.S. invasion, yellow gold from Haiti. It says, the Haitian-American Treaty, 1915, brought the need for American occupation to an end. However, that didn't end the need for American control over the island. One solution was to create the Haitian Gendarmerie.
Precept.
Go ahead.
Just to back you up, you can speak one at a time. This is Psalms 55 in verse 20. It says, he had put forth his hands against such as be at peace with him. He had broken his covenant.
Khan, he says, put forth his hands such as be at peace with him. You know, he come with a handshake, speaking smooth, you know, trying to make an agreement. And that's actually symbolized on the back of the dollar bill. You know, we know the eagle represents Esau, but in one set of talons, he has an olive branch, which means peace, and the other set of talons, he has arrows, which means war. All right? So he's a hypocrite. That symbol right there is a symbol of a hypocrite. All right? And he says, read that the rest of that again.
It says, he had put forth his hands against such as be at peace with him. He had broken his covenant. The words of his mouth were smoother than butter, but war was in his heart.
God, so his whole intent was actually to destroy Jake. All right? Look at, you know, this. We talked about this treaty of 1915. That is just a snapshot of the 400 treaties he had with Gad. Okay? He broke over 400 treaties he had with Gad. You know, steadily coming back, poisoning them, killing them, you know, moving them out of the land. Okay? Displacing them, as they call it. All right? Like you said earlier, never trust your enemy. All right? Go ahead.
It's the book of James chapter 5 verse 4. Behold, the hire of the laborers who have reaped down your fields, which is of you kept back by fraud, crieth, and the cries of them which have reaped are entered into the ears of the Lord of Sabaoth. So Lord, you know, he's the things that you've done unto the righteous from since you've been in power, even before times, the things that you've done, we're reading about, you know, how the Edomites had part in much of the destruction, but the deceitfulness that you've brought forth and taken advantage of the so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians, and going into the land, coming with the peaceable eye. In many cases, coming into many of those lands, and even amongst other nations, bringing saying that you have certain medicines which actually made many people sick.
Yeah.
You know, so there's many things that you've done to fraud the people, but the main people that you've frauded is the Lord's people, and they are crying out, you know, and He's going to bring forth His army. To bring forth destruction. Verse 5, he says, ye have lived in pleasure.
If I may, to back you up is 2nd Ezra 15. It says that the souls of the just complain continually. You know what I'm saying? We're the just. Israelites, we're the just. Beginning with the elect. You know? You got it, bro.
Yep. Ye have lived in pleasure on the earth and have been wanted. So you've received all these things through deceit. You've lived in pleasure. You've lived deliciously, and in the process of your pleasure and deliciously, you're still lacking. You don't have the spirit to actually do right. You've been created to be one that is sons of perdition, leading unto destruction. Right? It says, "You nourished your hearts as in the day of slaughter." That's why that great sacrifice in Basra, right, that is coming. It says, ye have condemned and killed the just, and he doeth not resist you. So we have no power in our hand to resist the things in which you do unto us. From all the law, like I think the brother brought out, for the power is in our hands.
Yeah.
right?
You said there's no might too in our hands. Yeah.
There's no might that we have to fight against you. All right, but through the spirit of Yahweh Shemel Shai, we do have that. You know, we have the faith in which He's given unto the elect to condemn you through the words of the Heavenly Father, and
Precept.
He is going to fight our cause. Actually, I have one. Somebody could get Proverbs 22 and 21 and 22 real quick.
Proverbs 22.
Yep, 21 and 22.
Proverbs 21 and 22. It says, "A wise
21.
Yeah.
Then 22.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Proverbs 21 and 21.
Oh no, Salaki. Yeah, you're right. All right. 22 and 22, 21. Salaki. Yeah.
It says,
Yeah, that's it.
Proverbs 22 and 22. It says, "Rob not the poor because he is poor, neither oppress the afflicted in the gate.
Go ahead.
For the Lord will plead their cause, and spoil the soul of those that spoil them."
So the things in which you've done unto us is going to happen unto you.
Yep.
Like we said, all the things that you've stolen and you've done, you come into the you even still talk about 70 AD, the siege of Jerusalem, the Ark of Titus, and you've taken all our goodly and pleasant things of the Heavenly Father and had it unto yourself. All these things the Lord remembers.
Yep.
All right, and you're gonna pay for it. Yep. And that was again Edom. You saw Edom, so-called white man, who was head of all those things. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was holding Isaiah 47,
Go ahead.
and I'll start at verse 7. It says, "Thou saidest that I shall be a lady forever, so that thou didst not lay these things to thy heart, neither didst remember the latter end of it. Therefore hear now this, thou that art given to pleasures, that dwellest carelessly, that sayest in thy heart," like you was going to James the 5th chapter. And these devils, they've been able to live carelessly, deliciously, and ultimately they've been able to do that are off the blood, sweat, and tears of the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, which are the Israelites, man, the Lord's chosen people. You see? So once again, as we mentioned earlier, the reason why all these woes and evils are happening to America is because what you have done to the Israelites, man.
Yep.
It says, that sayest in thine heart, I am, and none else beside me. And that's, going into Esau, Edom, so-called white man, and his God complex. All right, he believes himself to be the Most High, Yahweh Shai and the angels. All right, excuse me. He completely X's out the Most High and the Son, all right, and the heavenly angels out the picture, and sets himself up in the Lord's throne, man. It says, I shall not sit as a widow, neither shall know the laws of children. And, ultimately, when it comes to a woman, are the things most important to her are her husband and her children. Basically her family. You see? So ultimately, Esau, even the so-called white man, he doesn't think that he's going to lose the things closest to him.
Right.
Verse 9, but these two things shall come to thee in a moment and one day, the loss of children and widowhood. They shall come upon thee in their...
If I may, speaking about widowhood, right? The woman that's married, she has comfort because her husband brings her that. See, when a woman don't have a husband, she's not comforted. All right? Meaning what? She's in turmoil. So America's going to be in turmoil.
Yep.
It says, they shall come upon thee in their perfection for the multitude of thy sorceries and for the great abundance of thine enchantments. See, so for all your wickedness that you've committed in this place and the wicked influence you've had upon the planet Earth, all right, these things are coming upon you. Verse 10, for thou hast trusted in thy wickedness, thou hast said, none seeth me. Thy wisdom and thy knowledge it hath perverted thee, and thou hast said in thine heart, I am, and none else beside me. So ultimately, you've been so puffed up, and your so-called wisdom, your so-called knowledge, which the Lord said that the wisdom of this world is foolish, right? And ultimately, you understand your wisdom is based off of wickedness. So you gotten so far into your wickedness that ultimately you think that there's none else besides you, man. All right, but we understand that the Lord is getting ready to come back and show you that ultimately you're just a man and not a God. It says, verse 11, therefore shall evil come upon thee, thou shalt not know from whence it riseth, and mischief shall fall upon thee, and thou shalt not be able to put it off.
That's what's going on right now. That's why you see everything's crashing. Economy, job, everything's crashing, and they don't even realize it.
Mm-hmm.
They don't. That's fulfillment of that scripture. They should not know from whence it's coming. This place is literally falling. And it's like it's obvious right now. You know, people are barely getting work hours. And the shit works on down.
Mm-hmm.
That's a clear tell sign that something ain't right.
God.
You know, you got it, brother.
Yep, it says, finishing off, it says, and desolation shall come upon thee suddenly, which thou shalt not know. You see, so, hey, man, it ain't getting out this ass whooping that the Lord Yahweh Bashmial Shai is bringing us you, man. Talking to Esau, Edom, and so-called white man. See, because, hey, y'all got to pay for what y'all done unto us, man. You see? And all the wickedness you spread in the earth, man, y'all got to pay for that.
Yep.
Yep. And you descendants have to pay as well.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? Because, you know, you get people, those are forefathers. You are your forefathers. And I got a precept, actually, I'm holding it right now.
Isaiah.
No, I got something right here, Sirach 41.
Yep.
This for you so-called white people, man. You Edomites that claim to not have anything to do with what's been done, right? This is Sirach 41, and I'll start at verse 5. The children of sinners are abominable children, and they that are conversant in the dwelling of the ungodly. The inheritance of sinners' children shall perish, and their posterity shall have a perpetual reproach. And that's what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
Your offspring. Excuse me, you live through your forefathers.
Yep.
That's how your lineage is passed through your fathers. So we all come back through our fathers. We all reincarnate. And the scriptures go into reincarnation. So when you get into reincarnation, we are our forefathers, and you are your forefathers. We are those generations coming back. That's why the reproach is happening to you.
Mm-hmm.
So you don't understand that. You wacky technical Christians don't understand that. All right, it says, verse 7, the children will complain of an ungodly father because they shall be reproached for his sake. My fathers did that. Well, you are your forefathers. Therefore, you're gonna have to pay.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Mm-hmm.
and you being reproached because why? Say, all right, let's take your statement, right? You my statement, right? We are not our forefathers. You enjoy the same benefits and you keep up the same system that oppresses our people. Okay? Keep up those same snares and traps they keep around Jake to keep Jake in turmoil. They keep it up.
Mm-hmm.
They're taught to keep it. They pass it down the line.
Yep.
You know, you got it, buddy.
No,
Read the next two verses.
I had that word conversant for him. If I can grab that.
Yeah, real quick.
Yeah, it's conversant. This is from the Merriam-Webster's online dictionary. The word conversant in the archaic sense means having frequent or familiar association. In this case, your frequent or familiar association is your bloodline. You are the descendants, okay, of this of this devil. You know, Isaiah 14 and 21 says, "Prepare a slaughter for his children for the iniquity of their fathers." Okay, so you gonna have to pay. All right.
Back in Sirach 41 and verse 8, it says, "Woe be unto you, ungodly men, which have forsaken the law of the Most High power. For if ye increase, it shall be to your destruction."
Because Esau, Edom, y'all had our books. You know, y'all had access. Y'all did a diligent search. Y'all, but what you did was you took the time to try to discount the words of the Heavenly Father. And every time you do, you find that His word is true. Like He tells us, let the Most High word be true and every man a liar. Tried to block out the sun because the Lord said if the ordinances of the heavens cease from before Him, the sun, the moon, the stars, then the children of Israel will cease from before Him.
Precept.
If you can go into the depths of the sea, you can measure the ocean, and the space, and so. Because again, the fool has said in his heart, you've also pushed that doctrine that there is no God, right? And again, it said the wicked, what's that? We said the wicked seduceth them. What's the first part of that?
The righteous more excellent than his neighbor.
But the wicked seduce many of our people because we see more in this time, I know I can say personally, people of our people, so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians, that say that there is no power, no God, that I have ever in my pastime. I grew up. Everybody, you would say something crazy, you know, that was remotely toward God, you know, because nobody knew the real name back then. You know, then people be like, oh. You know, like you gonna get
Strike down.
You going to
down,
you
right?
going to hell?
Yeah, you go there, right? But now, you know, people like freely open up these things, but they learn this from Esau, Edom, right? And it says, for if ye increase, it shall be to your destruction. So everything in which we mentioned again, you heaped up to yourself treasures for the last days. All these things you're gonna have to vomit up and give back up. I'll just go to the next verse.
Yeah.
Verse 9 it says, and if ye be born, ye shall be born to a curse, and if ye die, a curse shall be your portion.
Yeah, because
You are-
sorry. No, it's because again, all these curses, Deuteronomy 30 and verse 7, all these curses are going to be placed upon the enemy. All right, it says the wicked. Let me see. Let me get it real quick.
Why you getting that? It says what? That they are the people of the Lord's curse.
Yep.
That's going to bring forth the judgment. You Edomites. You know?
The
Cain can't run no more. Which Cain came back as Esau.
Yeah.
Now the justice is getting ready to be brought forth.
Yeah.
By who? Yahweh Bashim Yahushua. You're being brought to justice, man.
Yep.
Meaning what? You're going to be brought up for all the crimes, all right, that you committed. You got it, brother.
Yep. Proverbs 11 and 8 says, the righteous is delivered out of trouble, and the wicked cometh in his stead. So it's gonna there's that reverse, that changing of times. That Mortimer.
Yeah.
Mortimer.
What's the name of that movie? Changing Places.
Changes places, yeah.
Changing Places.
Turn those machines back on.
Yeah,
Turn those machines back on.
And pretty soon, the righteous, be in their kingdom, starting with Yahweh, bringing forth Yahweh Shah, King David the elect, 144,000, and treading down upon these heathen, starting with Esau, Edom, so-called white man. And so that's what we're looking for that day, for those ties to completely change. Yep.
One more verse.
Yeah.
Sirach 41 and 10. It says, all that are of the earth shall turn to earth again. So the ungodly shall go from a curse to destruction.
That's straightforward.
Plain to the point. Ungodly. The true ungodly is you Edomites, man. See. Even our people, they got some ungodly Israelites out there, right? But guess what? The Lord says He's going to turn away ungodliness from Jacob, because they're still a part of the righteous seed. See, the true ungodly in the earth is you Edomites, the wicked. See, you got it, brother.
Okay.
Real quick.
Go ahead.
This is the book of Romans, chapter 11, verse 26. And so all Israel shall be saved.
See, all Israel gonna be saved. So even the 2/3, they're gonna come back through the loins of the elect in 1/3. That's gonna be a fulfillment of that. They're gonna come back righteous in their right mind. All right, and they're gonna actually rule over you devils and really beat the shit out of you for what you seduce them to do. You know what I'm saying? They bugged out right now. They wild being niggas. Them YNs gonna be righteous in the kingdom.
Yeah.
They're gonna beat your ass for turning them to YNs in the kingdom, because they're gonna be in their full righteous mind. You know, you got it, brother. You ever thought about that though?
No, it's gonna be And they go. I'm sure, like just like how we were hoping for it, it's gonna be good. It's gonna
They fucked up.
Yeah.
Jake's fucked up right now.
Yeah.
Jake threw his ear.
Those.
But Esau made him through.
Yeah.
Kind of like Elias went to that camp one day. Esau created these fucking niggas, right?
Yeah.
But these same niggas among our people, right, they're going to be beating the shit out of Esau.
Hey,
Yeah.
I actually have to say, brother Shakya, he did a video. I got a chance to watch it or listen to it, where he was pretty much he was I think an elder or somebody had posted a video where this dude like he was just pretty much like, man, I'm taking hats, like pretty much I'm like his whole life is about getting money and killing.
Yeah.
And he's like, if I can just build up as many bodies, pretty much in other words, as he can, like he said, that's what and then the chick that was with was like, well, what if like all that's gonna happen is you're gonna take somebody else out, then they gonna come to try to take somebody of your people out, and then they're gonna take you out. He said, I'm gonna keep doing it until pretty much he get taken out. It was like he was like really glorifying like this is me and who I am, you know. And I thought that was wild.
Yeah, like Levi. We on the subject of Levi, right? Levi over here, they panhandling and shit, living on the streets, all kind of shit, right? Okay, Esau created them conditions.
Yeah.
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 You think about how fucked up Haiti is right now. War going on, a lot of bloodshed in the streets. Esau behind that. Levi gonna have his turn at your ass in the kingdom.
Yep. They're gonna be like those remember the movie Tales from the Hood, where those characters jumped off that that image and started beating up Esau.
Yep. Let me finish this up. This is Romans 11 verse 26. It says, and so all Israel shall be saved, as it is written, there shall come out of Zion a deliverer, and shall turn away ungodliness from Jacob, which is Yahushua. It says, for this is my covenant unto them, when I shall take away their sin. So it's not all people. The children of Israel, in the end, will be all righteous when it comes down to the kingdom. The other nations, eventually, through your servitude, the captivity, and tributaries, you'll have your own lands, but you'll always be coming to Israel to learn, in that kingdom.
God.
Yeah.
All right.
Yep.
Okay. Back to the article. Just a couple more short pieces. This is the Haitian gendarmerie talking about that. It says the United States first invaded Haiti in 1915. Shortly after the invasion, the U.S. established the gendarmerie. Basically, they created a Haitian National Guard under direct American control. Check that out. Okay. It says essentially they began turning Haiti into a puppet state. You mentioned that earlier.
Yep.
Okay. The evidence of this was seen in the gendarmerie interference in local government affairs.
So let's go back to what I just said a moment ago. They created the conditions.
Yep. Says the American officers of the Haitian gendarmerie have extended their powers for the communal councils to such as an extent that they wish to act as administrators of the commune and not rest within their powers.
Real quick, a puppet state is a country that appears to be independent, but is actually controlled by an outside power, often through military and economic support, and is not internationally recognized by most nations.
That's exactly what they're trying to do with Burkina Faso right now. Exactly what they're trying to do. Yep. It says the gendarmerie was just another example of military corruption in Haiti. Interestingly, most of the officers were actually U.S. Marines and sailors with dual commissions. They held a commission in the U.S. military. Meanwhile, they held a commission within the Haitian army as well. That's double agent right there.
Yeah, infiltration.
Yep. Says Haiti was also a prime example of a politicized military force. To this day, politics and the military mix in Haiti in a negative way. The victims are the people. This was something
Always.
Yep.
This is why a lot of Levites had to flee. That's why a lot of Levites on the mainland of America. That's what we were talking about earlier. Remember before we started rolling the camera, all these Levites you see in these stores.
And look how many boats they turned back. Going all the way back to Clinton, as far as I can remember.
And they're not just over here; they in Canada, they in Mexico, wherever they can flee for refuge.
Yep.
You got a lot.
All right. It says this was something that Jean Bertrand Aristide tried to change. That led to the assassination attempt on the Haitian president. All right. This is the First National City Bank. It says American big business interests played a significant role in the occupation and related events. For instance, just look at the establishment of the National Bank of the Republic of Haiti in 1910. A consortium of French, German, and American business were actually behind it. Esau, Amalek, yep. However, the Americans were primarily directing it. A select group of American bankers stoked fears that Haiti would default on debt payments. However, Haiti was consistently compliant.
Ain't that a bitch?
Yeah.
Here it is, Americans default on debt payment.
Yep. How many trillion? What's that debt clock up to now?
Can't make this shit up.
Yeah.
You gotta.
Says a select group of American bankers stoked fears that Haiti would default on debt payments. However, Haiti was consistently compliant with loan conditions. Nevertheless, they pushed for the seizure of Haiti's national bank. These national city bank boys made demands that the State Department use military force to take possession of Haiti's national reserves. Man. In response, on December 17th, 1914, the U.S. Marines took custody of Haiti's gold reserve.
Like if I may, I gotta say something. That show you that we're ugly curses. Here it is, a bank in America can default and be backed by the government if it falters, right? But here it is, they ain't do that for Levi.
Right.
But while we're under these curses, what it says in Baruch that we are made subject to payments.
Mm-hmm.
See? Go ahead, Doc.
Says the Marines.
That man's a fucking devil.
Mm-hmm.
That is, that shit just made my skin boil. Fucking just a devil, man. That's why that's all right, bro. You gonna get what you got coming.
Yep. Says nevertheless, they pushed for the seizure of Haiti's national bank. Slovakia, I went up too far. It says the Marines loaded the gold onto the USS Maquias. The gunship then transported the precious metal to New York City to Amalek. All right. Upon arrival, they took gold to Wall Street and placed it into the National City Bank's vault. This all went back to the so-called imposter, not so-called, the imposter Jewish people. All right. That's who's running those big banks. We know that. All right. It says that gold today would have been valued at over $14,185,800. It says even after that, American big business wanted more. See, not what's that you brought out about the great gatherers? They're never satisfied. Okay. It says even after that, American big business wanted more. Apparently, the financial control that holding the gold reserve brought wasn't enough for them. That got what they wanted as part of the Haitian-American Treaty of 1915. It says the Haitian-American Treaty was ratified by the United States Senate on the 16th September 1915. During the convention leading up to it, the United States negotiated certain rights. The treaty granted the United States the right to provide security. Yeah. They also secured the right to administer Haiti's finances for a period of 10 years. Ain't that a bitch? Man. All right. And the last section, it says the...
You notice every time you go into the tribes of history of what Esau done to it, all go back to Amalek.
Yep.
Amalek be the forefront.
Yeah, well, that's Deuteronomy 25, 17 through 19 says, remember what he did to you.
That too.
You are?
I can bring it out. Deuteronomy 25 and 17. Remember what Amalek did unto thee by the way, when ye were come forth out of Egypt.
Mm-hmm.
How he met thee by the way, and smote the hindermost of thee, even all that were feeble behind thee,
mm-hmm.
when thou wast faint and weary, and he feared not the power.
Mm-hmm.
Therefore it shall be, when Yahweh Bashim Yahushua thy power hath given thee rest from all thine enemies round about, in the land which Yahweh Bashim Yahushua thy power giveth thee for an inheritance to possess it, that thou shalt blot out the remembrance of Amalek from under heaven, thou shalt not forget it.
It says we're not supposed to forget what he did, because the Lord also told us in Exodus 17 that he would be with war with Amalek from generation to generation. Now, though Amalek is part of the nation of Esau, Edom, he specifically called out Amalek. Specifically called out all Edomites. There's none good in any of them, but he called that particular tribe out specifically. Because he's the first of the nations, or the chief nation. Everything is run by him.
Every nation has its chief.
Yep.
Like Judah is our chief.
All right. This is the last section. It says aftermath and consequences.
Chief just mean head, by the way.
Yep.
Same thing, head, leader.
Mm-hmm.
Just like you got it, brother.
It says aftermath and consequences of Haiti. It says ever since occupying forces withdrew from Haiti, the country has struggled for economic stability. Economic prosperity has been little more than a dream. The Haitian people dream of better lives. Meanwhile, Haitian authorities seem to take every opportunity to take advantage of them. He says natural disasters and other events have damaged the country even further from time to time. At the least, they have helped to keep the proverbial foot on Haiti's neck. And we know about those natural disasters. We know that Esau has devices, HARP program, the DO, direct energy weapons. You know, that Haiti actually shares the same island as the Dominican Republic, but you only have an earthquake on one side. Okay, one side of it. So they've engineered those disasters to keep Haiti subdued. All right, that's it on the article.
I got something real quick.
Go ahead.
We can end with this then. This is the book of Job, chapter 27, verse 13. It says, "This is the portion of the wicked man with the Most High, and the heritage of oppressors, which they shall receive of the Almighty. If their children be multiplied, it is for the sword, and his offspring shall not be satisfied with bread." And brothers can speak on it if you want to.
That was plain. That links to Isaiah 14. And he should take them captives whose captives they were, and they should rule over their oppressors. We're getting ready to rule over these devils, man.
Yep.
All the 12 tribes. All right. It just starts with the elect. See, the Lord is going to. Like right at Colossians 3, about the shop.
25.
Yeah.
Okay, he that doeth wrong shall receive for the wrong which he have done. There's
That's
no
what's
respect of persons. Yep.
That's what's coming. Everything that's been wrong gonna be righted by Yahweh Bashim Yahushua. We're gonna oppress you in righteousness though.
Huh.
You're gonna be lacking. You're gonna be found wanting. You know, you're gonna complain and cry when you're being made to do forced labor in our kingdom, because the kingdom of heaven is our kingdom.
Your kids being sold away.
Yeah, well, it speaks about that.
Yep, in Joel. Yep.
The Sabians. Matter of fact, let me grab that.
Well, let's finish this real quick.
Yeah, go ahead,
and then, it says, "Those that remain of him shall be buried in death, and his widows shall not weep."
You know why? Because they with Jake now. They're gonna be with Jake now.
It says,
Like,
"Though he heap up silver as the dust, and prepare raiment as the clay, he may not prepare it, but the just shall put it on, and the innocent shall divide the silver." So that just goes by everything in which he's taken. He's gonna have to give up.
vomit it back up.
Vomit
Yep.
it back up. So I just wanted to. I'll stop there. Y'all bring out your.
Joel 3 and 6. "The children also of Judah and the children of Jerusalem have you sold unto the Grecians, that ye might remove them far from their border. Behold, I will raise them out of the place whither ye have sold them, and will return your recompense upon your own head." That's what's going to happen.
Yep.
The Lord's about to return, all right, that same thing you done to our people on your own head. Which is what the cup.
Yep.
Cup of slavery. You know?
You said so he gonna return from the plate. Read that part again.
It says, "Behold, I will raise them out of the place whither ye have sold them, and will return your recompense upon your own head."
Yeah, and raising up out of the place where we were sent to, that's that gathering. Okay, gathering of his elect. All right.
Verse 8, "And I will sell your sons and your daughters into the hand of the children of Judah, and they shall sell them to the Sabians, to the people far off, for Yahweh Bashim Yahushua has spoken it."
All right.
You bring that out. Go ahead and bring it out. I went in there.
The one of Colossians. This is Colossians chapter 3 and verse 25. It says, "But he that doeth wrong shall receive for the wrong which he hath done, and there is no respect of persons."
So there's the scripture I always bring out in Sirach, where it says, "If there be one stiff neck among the people," right? So from the lowest level to the highest level, the Lord is going to bring forth a judgment, whether it be good or whether it be evil. It's going to be placed upon you. So there's no respect of persons, and much more upon the wicked that is completely contrary to Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai. You're going to get a recompense that's like no other. So with that, we hope that this lesson was edifying, uplifting, exhorting to the elect body of true believers. Before we end, we'd like to give all praise, honor, and glory to
Yahweh Ba'Shem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'Shem, Rakakadash.
double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. Peace and salutations to the hopeful elect scattered throughout the four corners of the globe. Until next time, all those listening and learning to you, we say Shalom.
Shalom.